The Clockmaker's Daughter. There's a shop on Elderberry Lane that exists slightly out of time. Not in any magical sense, but in the way certain places feel untouched by the rush of modern life. A pocket of slowness in a world that's forgotten how to pause. The sign above the door reads, Thorne and Daughter, Clockmakers since 1947. And if you step inside on any given afternoon, you'll find Stella Thorne surrounded by the gentle symphony of ticking clocks. She's the daughter in the shop's name, though at 42, she's hardly a girl anymore. Her father, Henry Thorne, opened this shop the year after the war ended, when the world was trying to remember how to measure time in peace rather than survival. He passed away 3 years ago, but Stella kept the name unchanged. It felt important somehow to honor that partnership, that passing of knowledge from one generation to the next. Today, she's working on a mantel clock from the 1920s, an elegant piece with a mahogany case and brass fittings that have aged to a soft, warm patina. The mechanism inside has stopped working, not broken exactly, just tired. Sometimes clocks simply need someone to remind them how to keep going. Stella sits at her workbench in the back room, jeweler's loop fitted to her eye, examining the delicate gears with the kind of patience her father taught her. Every clock has its own personality, he used to say. Your job isn't to force it to work. It's to listen until it tells you what it needs. She's listening now. The shop itself is a wonder to behold. Every wall is lined with clocks of different shapes, sizes, and eras. Grandfather clocks stand tall and stately in the corners. Cuckoo clocks from the Black Forest hang at varying heights, their little doors ready to release their carved birds on the hour. There are carriage clocks, anniversary clocks, skeleton clocks that reveal their inner workings behind glass domes. Ships' chronometers and pocket watches rest in display cases, each one a small universe of precision and craft. But the most remarkable thing about the shop isn't the collection. It's the sound. Every few seconds, a different clock ticks. The sounds overlap and weave together into something that shouldn't be harmonious but somehow is. It's like a conversation happening in a language just beyond comprehension. Hundreds of small voices marking the passage of time in their own distinct rhythm. Most people find it overwhelming at first. The noise, the visual complexity, the sheer abundance of time being measured and displayed. But those who stay, who let themselves settle into the shop's peculiar atmosphere, often report feeling calmer than they have in years. There's something deeply soothing about being surrounded by so many reminders that time continues, steady and patient, regardless of our anxiety about it. Stella knows this. She's seen people come in tense and distracted, asking about repair estimates, and gradually soften as they wait. She's watched them stop checking their phones, stop glancing at their watches, stop mentally calculating how long this errand is taking. The clocks, paradoxically, help people forget about time, or at least forget their fraught relationship with it. She removes a tiny gear from the mantel clock's mechanism, holds it up to the light. There's a hairline crack along one edge, nearly invisible but enough to throw off the entire system. She'll need to fabricate a replacement, which means going into the workshop's small machine room, where her father's tools still hang exactly where he left them. The machine room is Stella's favorite part of the shop. It's cramped and dusty and filled with equipment that most people wouldn't recognize. Tiny lathes, gear cutters, polishing wheels, drawers upon drawers of springs and screws and pivots organized by size down to fractions of millimeters. Her father spent thousands of hours in this room, and sometimes Stella swears she can still feel his presence here, patient and focused, teaching her through muscle memory how to hold a tool, how much pressure to apply, when to pause and reconsider. She selects a small brass blank and begins the careful work of shaping a replacement gear. The lathe hums softly as she works, metal shavings falling away in delicate curls. This is meditative work, demanding complete attention but not stressful. More like a conversation with the material, asking it to become what's needed. Outside, the afternoon light begins its slow fade toward evening. Through the workshop's small window, Stella can see the street coming alive with people heading home from work, walking dogs, pushing strollers. The world moving at its relentless pace while she sits here, moving slowly, fixing things that measure time without being hurried by it. Stella came to clockmaking reluctantly at first. As a teenager, she'd wanted nothing to do with the family business. It seemed old-fashioned, irrelevant in an age of digital everything. Why did anyone need mechanical clocks when every device had a perfectly accurate time display? She'd planned to study graphic design, to do something modern and creative and completely separate from her father's world of gears and pendulums. But in her second year of university, her mother got sick. Cancer, swift and merciless. Stella came home to help, intending to stay only a few months. She'd sit in the shop sometimes while her father was at the hospital, minding the counter, surrounded by all those ticking clocks. And slowly, almost against her will, she began to understand what her father loved about this work. It wasn't really about clocks, she realized. It was about continuity, about maintaining things that were built to last, to be passed down, to connect one generation to another. Every clock that came through the shop had a story, a wedding gift, an inheritance, a beloved object carried through multiple moves and life changes. Fixing them wasn't just technical work. It was preserving those stories, those connections, those small threads that tied people to their past. After her mother died, she stayed. She enrolled in a horology program, learned the formal techniques to supplement what her father had taught her. She discovered she had a talent for the work, a natural feel for the logic of mechanical systems. And more than that, she found peace in it, in the precision, the patience, the sense of participating in something larger than herself. The replacement gear takes her 40 minutes to fabricate, but when she's finished, it's perfect. She holds it up, checking it against the damaged original, then brings it back to her workbench. The mantel clock sits there waiting, its case gleaming from the careful cleaning she gave it earlier. She's always struck by how vulnerable clocks look when they're opened up, all their secret complexity exposed, their apparent magic revealed to be nothing more than gears and springs and the careful arrangement of force and resistance. But there's magic in that too, she thinks. In the human ingenuity it took to capture time's passage in a mechanical system. In the craft required to make something so precise it can run accurately for decades. In the care it takes to maintain these objects across generations. She fits the new gear into place, checking clearances, making minute adjustments. Then, piece by piece, she begins reassembling the mechanism. This is the part she loves most, watching the system come back together, knowing that if she's done everything right, it will soon tick back to life. Clock repair requires a particular kind of faith. You take apart something that worked or used to work, trusting that you'll be able to return it to functioning order. You can't see the whole picture while you're in the middle of it. You have to hold the complete mechanism in your mind, Remember how each piece relates to the others. Believe that careful attention to small things will result in something greater than the sum of its parts. It's not unlike life, really. We're all working with partial information, trying to keep our complicated systems running, hoping the care we give to small moments will add up to something meaningful. She finishes the reassembly as the shop's clocks begin their 6 o'clock chorus. First one chimes, then another, then a cascade of different tones and melodies filling the air. Westminster chimes, cuckoo calls, ship's bells, simple hourly strikes. It's cacophonous and beautiful. A reminder that time arrives the same for everyone, but announces itself differently depending on where you're standing. Stella wins the mainspring on the mantel clock, sets the hands to the correct time, and holds her breath. For a moment, nothing happens. Then tick, and another, and another. The clock's heartbeat returns, steady and sure, as if it had never stopped. She exhales, smiling. Success always feels like a small miracle, even after years of practice. The front door chimes. An actual bell, not electronic, and Stella emerges from the workshop to find a customer browsing. It's a woman about her age, holding a small carriage clock wrapped carefully in cloth. "I called earlier," the woman says, "about my grandmother's clock. It stopped working last month, and I wasn't sure if it could be fixed." Stella takes the cloth-wrapped bundle gently. "Let's have a look." She unwraps it carefully. It's a beautiful piece, brass and beveled glass, probably from the 1890s. She opens the back and examines the mechanism. It's dusty but intact, the kind of problem that comes from neglect rather than damage. She can fix this. "It's in good shape," Stella says. "Needs cleaning and oiling, possibly a new mainspring, but nothing serious. I can have it running again in about a week." The woman's relief is visible. "I was so worried. My grandmother kept it on her mantel for 50 years. When she passed, she left it to me, and I felt terrible that I'd let it stop." "You didn't let it stop," Stella says gently. "Mechanical clocks need regular maintenance. Most people don't know that. The fact that you're here now wanting to restore it, that's what matters. That's how you honor what she gave you." After the woman leaves, Stella locks the front door and flips the sign to closed. But she doesn't go upstairs to her apartment yet. Instead, she returns to the workshop, to the mantel clock she's just repaired, and simply sits with it for a moment, listening to its newly restored tick. This is her favorite time of day in the shop. When the work is done, but she's not quite ready to leave it behind. When she can sit surrounded by the sounds of time passing, each clock marking seconds in its own voice, and feel connected to something larger than her individual life. She thinks about her father, about the thousands of hours he spent in this shop doing exactly what she's doing now. About her grandmother, about the unknown clockmaker who built that carriage clock in the 1890s, about all the hands that have touched these objects, cared for them, passed them on. She's part of a chain extending backward and forward, a keeper of both time and memory. Her phone buzzes. A text from her friend Maya asking if she wants to grab dinner. Stella almost says no, like she usually does, preferring solitude after a day of concentrated work. But something makes her pause. The clocks tick around her, patient and constant, reminding her that time passes whether we use it or not, that connection matters, that we're here to participate in life, not just maintain it. She texts back, "Yes, give me 20 minutes." She stands, stretches, turns off the workshop lights. As she moves through the shop toward the stairs that lead to her apartment, she trails her hand along the edge of a display case, feeling the smooth wood, the cool glass. She'll shower, change, meet Maya at their favorite Italian place. They'll talk and laugh and maybe share a bottle of wine, and for a few hours she'll step fully into the present tense, into the living moment rather than the careful preservation of past ones. But she'll come back tomorrow. She always does. To the workshop, to the waiting clocks, to the quiet satisfaction of making broken things whole again. To the steady ticking that reminds her time is both infinite and precious, both mechanical and mysterious, both measured and immeasurable. Before she heads upstairs, she pauses at the shop's front window. Outside, evening has arrived fully. The street lights have come on. People pass by, heading toward whatever marks their evenings. Dinners, meetings, children's bedtimes, quiet hours with books or screens or music. Each person carrying their own relationship with time, their own sense of it passing too quickly or too slowly, their own desperate or peaceful reckoning with mortality and meaning. Inside the shop, the clocks keep their vigil, ticking, chiming, marking hours that become days, that become years, that become lives. Patient witnesses to human striving and human rest, to the way we fill our brief span with work and love and the careful maintenance of things that matter. Stella smiles, satisfied. Tomorrow she'll repair the carriage clock, and probably 3 or 4 others. She'll listen to what each mechanism tells her it needs. She'll work with patience and precision, honoring the craftsmanship of clockmakers long dead, creating continuity between past and future through the careful application of skill in the present. But tonight, she'll go be with her friend. She'll laugh and eat and remember that time isn't just something to be measured and maintained. It's something to be lived, fully and presently, with attention and gratitude and the knowledge that these moments, ordinary and precious, are what we're really here for. The clocks will still be ticking when she returns. They always are. That's their nature, their purpose, their gift to the hurried world. They remind us, time passes, use it well, be here now. This moment and this one, each arriving perfectly on schedule, each carrying its own possibility.